Alright everybody, and welcome back to the Goody Pantry. Today we're going to be making beef and vegetable pies. All of the ingredients are there on the screen. Before we jump in, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified for all new videos. Okay, let's jump straight into it. So this is the bulk of the ingredients. So I'll go through the filling first. So here I've got my beef mince. This is steak mince that I'm using. I've got 500 milliliters of a good quality beef stock. I've got 100 grams of diced carrot, 100 grams of diced onion, 80 grams of frozen peas, and over here I've just got a little bit of corn flour that I'll mix later with some water just to thicken the gravy. And for the flour, we've got 400 grams of plain flour, 200 grams of room temp butter, I've got 125 ml of water here, and just the egg wash for the tops. Okay, let's get into it. So first of all, I'm going to get my pan onto the stove here and get this hot, and then we're going to add in our steak mince. Once you get this in, give it a good stir around, and then what you want to do to start, have you noticed I haven't put any oil in this, so you don't need to have any oil with this. It's absolutely no. Just put your mince in dry, give it a good stir around like I just did, and then get your lid on and leave it for about 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, you can see just on the bottom there where it's starting to colour, and what that's doing, it's rendering its own fat out of the mince. This is why you don't need to add any, and sometimes why you get little white pieces in your gravy. It's just a fat build-up. So once you've stirred it around, get the lid back on, and then you see it again, it's starting to brown off. All the fat's starting to render, so give that another good stir. Once you've got that a good stir, now add your onions in. Now work your onions in with the mince, and what is that fat that's rendered out the mince is now going to cook your onions. And then you're going to go do the same thing with your carrots. Once you've given them a good stir, so again, you're going to put the lid back on, and this is let this cook with the lid on for about a minute. And it's just going to help sweat down the carrots and the onions with the beef. Once that's done, lid off. And now we're going to add our beef stock. So get that in there, and if you like mine, which you'll see here, I've still got some stuck at the bottom of the jug, just add a little bit of water and that clears that up. Get your lid back on, and now you're going to leave this for a good 25-30 minutes. At the 30-minute mark, put your peas in, give them a good stir, and then you're just going to let this cook for another 5 minutes. Make sure you do your peas at the end because you don't want to overcook them. So the lid is back on for 5 minutes, and now my mixture's ready. But first thing I'm going to do, get a teaspoon and taste your sauce before you thicken it. Just check for your own personal preference if you need any more salt. I did, so I chucked about a teaspoon in. Now you go, so now I've mixed my corn flour with just a little bit of water, and you're going to add that bit by bit. This should come quite a thick sauce on the pie filling. But corn flour can thicken very quickly, so just do it bit by bit. So there we go, I've used all of mine for this mixture. Let's go, and that's created quite a thick sauce now around it. You can use gravy granules if you want, if you've got them, work exactly the same. But because you've got your stock on there, you can just do it with some corn flour. Once your mix is done, get it transferred to a bowl, let it cool at room temp, and once it's cool, cover it and put it in the fridge. I'm doing mine for 24 hours in the fridge, just because you get a better taste. So it's the next day, and now we're making the pastry. So I've got my flour in there, and I'm going in with my room temp butter. Now you definitely want to have your butter room temp if you're using butter for this, because it's quite hard when it's cold, and then that's a nightmare to try and mix for your pastry. So get it room temp. I just left mine overnight in the kitchen, and it was absolutely fine to do with this part. So start moving it around and get your pastry done, and start breaking it up between your fingers and thumbs until you get breadcrumbs like this. I'll bring it closer to the camera so you can see it. So if you've never made pastry before, essentially what you're looking for is like crumble topping. And that's when you got to that part, that means your pastry's mixed properly. So I'm going to go in with a teaspoon of salt for seasoning, give that a good stir, and then we're going to start adding our water. Now with the water, again, just like the corn flour, do it bit by bit. Don't go all in straight away because it might be too much. You never know with pastry, it's never an exact science when it comes to the water. So I've been mixing mine now, and here's the stage I'm at. So it's just about there, but you can see it's still a little detached from each other. It's not quite brought to a dough. But this is what I mean about the water. So you can literally see how much more water I'm about to add to get this pastry to where I need it. And it's literally drops of water. That was it. That little bit of water there is what's going to bring my pastry together. So as you can see now with the handle, it's pretty much brought to a dough. So I'm just going to shape it now with my hands. So that's why you got to do your water bit by bit. Okay, so now I'm going to do like 4 individual pies. These I think they're 6-inch tins. If you don't have these, you can do one large family style pie, and it's the exact same amount of ingredients. You're just doing one large one compared to 4 small ones. So I've just sprayed these with a little oil. I'm just making sure they get a good coating on the tins, and then we're going to start making up our pies. So here I've got my pastry. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to divide this into 4. And then those 4 pieces are going to get divided again, so that you have 8 pieces. So these are the bottoms. So I'm going to cut them again. And now you've got your 4 bottom pieces. It might look small, but this will definitely be enough. Remember, these are individual pies. You don't need a lot of pastry for the individual ones. So you got to make sure you get a good coating of flour on your surface, dusting the flour on the top, roll it around, and then again always dust your rolling pin. So now we're going to start rolling these out and giving them a little turn in between each roll. If it sticks, just like you saw there, it's just about to. I'm going to turn it over, rub it back in the flour. It's done it again, so just do the same thing, and you can just keep rotating it round until you've got a nice circular-ish shape. So that's mine done, and what I'm going to do is, just so there, I'm going to brush off the excess flour, turn it over, and do the same. Once you've done that, get your tin. Your pastry should be able to be handled at this point. And then pick it up and just place it over the top. Then just gently lift it up from the sides, and gently push down with your other hand inside the tin. Don't worry if you don't get this perfect, because I'm going to show you what happens in a second. But whatever the point, do not trim off your pastry at this point. Leave your pastry hanging over, and I'll explain to you why. So I've repeated that stage there, and you see the pastry still hanging over all of them. And now we're going to put our filling in. So I'm going to just take the mix and start filling the pies right up. Make sure you get them right up to the very top, and then flatten them out when you got there. So there, you see I filled mine right to the brim. I pressed on mix all down. So this is why you don't have to worry too much about it getting it right in the tin. Once you put the filling in, it's going to push your pastry down for you. And the reason you don't cut off until this point is because now you've got your filling in. When you trim your pastry off, you won't get any shrinkage on your pastry. So you see, I've just cut all my pastry off, and the pastry is exactly how I've cut it. It's not shrinking down because you left the overhang while you put the filling in. So as long as you do it this way, and the same applies to quiches and everything else, you'll never get any shrinking of pastry. Once you've got them all trimmed off, then get your egg wash and just run the brush around the rims of the pastry. Now we're going to do our tops. So again, we've got our 4/4, and you're just going to repeat what we did earlier for the bottoms, but just for the tops. Once you've got the tops ready, then just place it over the top. And now we're going to do the crimping. So this is how you do the crimping. Finger and thumb and pinch, and push your other thumb against your finger and thumb as you're pinching. And just move the tin round as you go on with your hands. And then just on the right side there, you can see how the crimping's starting to take shape. And there you go. And once you've got that done, you can then take your knife, the back of your knife, and start trimming up your pies again. And once you've got that done, so you're just going to repeat this with the other 4 pies, or just the once if you're doing a large family style one. And now you're going to egg wash your pie top. So give it a good egg washing, try and get in all the little dimples where you've done the crimping. Then when you've got it, given it a good coating, just take your knife and put 3 little slits in the centre. This is just going to let the steam out and stop your pastry from bubbling up. Now we've got them all done, these are going to go in the oven now at 160 degrees for 30 to 35 minutes. And while they're in there, I'm going to get my cooling rack out and get that set up. You definitely want a cooling rack, let them settle, just protect your kitchen surface. And here they are as they're coming out. So these were in exactly 35 minutes when I did mine. And you can't see too well, so I'm going to bring one close to the camera because it was quite bleak out and it wasn't great lighting, but there you go. You can see a nice golden colour on the pies. And after they've cooled for a little while, you only need to give them about 5 minutes. Just lets the tin be a little easier to handle. Tip it out, and then give it a cut open and get stuck in. This is what they look like inside. Now I love these pies, as you'll see here when I get my hand out the way. Nice, rich beef filling. Plenty of it as well. And these just taste absolutely fantastic. So there we go, there they are served up. Hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Give these a try. You can do these with exactly the same way. If you do steak, you can just replace it with diced beef, same amount, or chicken or anything like that. But give them a go. Let me know in the comments how you got on. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you at the next one.